Oh, hey, how are you? It's Dana Cornelius, author of You Are Taller Over the Phone. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for coming back. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram and Telegram and BitChute and Rumble. I'd love to see you over there too. So today, as I promised yesterday, we're going to be talking about loneliness as a reason to date. Now, before I get there, I want to talk about artichokes and panda. Yeah. And I'll tell you why in a second, okay? Now, first, I'd like to talk about gratitude. Okay, I think it's National Gratitude Day. Don't ask me where I got that, but I'm pretty sure it is. If it's not, I'm just going to make it up, okay? Every day should be National Gratitude Day, right? Gratitude, okay? It comes from the word gratia, G-R-A-T-I-A, which means grace. So when you're feeling gratitude or grateful, you're feeling graceful and you're full of grace. Isn't that just the most beautiful feeling when you say the word grace? So I think everything that we do, okay, either before, during, or after, we should just pause and go, thank you. I'm still grateful. No matter what happened, I'm still grateful. All right, moving on. Enough of that. And I'm grateful for you, by the way. Let's talk about pandas. It's National Panda Day. Have you appreciated a panda lately? Have you hugged a panda lately? I would highly recommend it, but virtually, not literally, because I hear they're kind of grumpy. Anyway, they're located way on the other side of the globe, okay? And what's fun about knowing a little bit about pandas is that it reminds me of childhood. I had a big panda bear stuffed, and I loved it. I loved it dearly, and I wouldn't mind one again, actually. Pandas, they love to eat bamboo, but they're not vegetarians, they're not vegans, they're actually omnivores, which means they eat almost everything, even though 99% of their diet is bamboo. I think it's just so cute when they're munching on it. But they stay at high levels where it's cold, where there's a lot of bamboo, but when it gets too cold, they actually climb back down the mountain to lower elevations where it's warmer, and they continue their bamboo eating there. They don't hibernate, even though they're bears. Artichokes. Now, these two things are not related. Artichokes and pandas, even I don't think pandas eat artichokes, but I'll have to research that. But artichokes, it's National Artichoke Day. Now, have you hugged an artichoke lately? For all the granolas out there? I'm plant-based. I'm certified in plant-based nutrition through Cornell, and so anything that has to do with a vegetable, a plant, fruit, I love. It just rocks my little world. So a couple fun facts about artichokes. I go buy some at the store, okay, because they're really, really delicious for you. It actually is one of the oldest foods known to man. Isn't that something? In fact, it's so old, it's in ancient Greek mythology. As the story goes, Zeus spotted a beautiful girl named Sinara while visiting his brother Poseidon. He instantly fell in love, made her a goddess, and took her back to Mount Olympus with him. Hope she brought the condom. However, Sinara became lonesome. See, loneliness. And because it was isolating, it was high up, it was like only one other person. And she took secret trips to visit her family and probably someone else, I'm thinking. As soon as Zeus discovered these trips, he was angered and then kicked Sinara off Mount Olympus and turned her into an artichoke. Can you believe it? Wow, I mean, how did he do that? I'm gonna research that. Anyway, there's a whole long scientific name that I'm not even gonna begin to try to pronounce, but it does exist. And somewhere in there is the word Sinara and a building in a town called Sinara as well. So, fun little facts. Moving on to the highlight of this video, and that's dating out of loneliness. Do you date out of loneliness? I did. Sitting on the couch, swiping left and right, maybe killing 5 minutes before you gotta go somewhere. I mean, that's just crazy. That's just not the way one should be dating at all right? So loneliness can be very serious, all right? There can be chronic loneliness or situational loneliness. Chronic loneliness usually stems out of a series of childhood traumas. So we perpetuate that feeling of isolation that we had in childhood, whether it was psychological or physical or neglect, any kinds of abuse. We perpetuate that in our adulthood. The temporary isolation, you're in the hospital for some reason, right? And it gets kind of lonely in there, especially at night. Quarantined, right? Anything that has an isolation effect to it can cause us to feel lonely. Have you ever felt lonely in a crowd? So it's not just a physical isolation, it can be an emotional isolation, which stems back to childhood trauma. So any way you spin it, doesn't look good. So we want to address the causes of loneliness and not just the symptoms. So we don't want to eat ourselves out of loneliness, shop ourselves out of loneliness. Okay, we don't want to chat it up with people and get on the phone just because we're lonely. That can be overdone as well. So any extreme behaviors to try to compensate for the loneliness behavior, we want to examine. So all in all, loneliness is essentially the absence of meaningful relationships. That's really what it is. So we're lonely and we want to seek a relationship with the opposite sex or the same sex or with a partner. So we go online. But we're forgetting that a meaningful relationship doesn't necessarily have to be with another person. All right? Meaningful relationships, that definition is broad. So there's a meaningful relationship with ourselves, our spirituality, if you're religious, a pet, okay? Maybe the earth. You know, gardeners. I just started gardening. It's so rewarding to be around plants, not terminal. Loneliness is not terminal. There's things you can do, all right? That's all I'm suggesting. Let's go and do it, all right? But I can't stress enough, please do not swipe left or right or get online when you're lonely. It's not fair to the other person, and it's not fair to you. That's all I'm saying, guys. That's all I'm saying. All right, well, that's all I got. I need to get back to my, my book. I'm writing a sequel. And I'll catch you tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be dating just to stay in the game. I was on television once, and on the panel, I sat next to a psychologist who addressed the millions and millions of people watching. And she said, it's okay to date just to stay in the game, just to date, you know, dating online, just to stay in the game, even though you're not too serious about it. So we're going to talk about that, okay? Let me know what you think.